What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am here to bring you all the weekly Tales of Zestiria the X review. In today's review, we are covering episode 8. In the chronological order, this would be episode 7. But since I am sticking to the broadcast order of Tales of Zestiria, this is actually episode 8. So, just wanted to clarify that. Anyways, let's get started with the review. So in this week's episode of Tales of Zestiria the X, we head back into the Zestiria timeline. That is right, and it kind of sucks. I mean, for me, I was really liking Velvet's character a lot more than Sorey's, and the story to Tales of Zestiria just seems to interest me a lot more. And that is probably because, you know, when it comes to Tales of Zestiria, I hardly know anything about it. I mean, we've only gotten 2 episodes in the Zestiria timeline, pretty much just, you know, Velvet escaping out of the prison, and, you know, her character is still shrouded in mystery. And I know this adaptation isn't dedicated to Tales of Zestiria, but I'm really hoping we do, in fact, end up getting an anime of Tales of Zestiria, like maybe later down the line, because usually that's how it goes about in the Tales games. You know, every Tales game within a few years, they end up putting out an anime for it. I don't know about you guys, but personally, I would really like to see an anime for Tales of Zestiria because I'm really liking Velvet's character. The story is interesting, and the only way that I'm going to be able to actually, you know, see more from Velvet and see how the story plays out is if I actually buy the game. But for us U.S. citizens, you know, we're not going to be able to receive, you know, the Tales of Zestiria copy until like February of next year. I believe the game is already out in Japan, so that's good on that for you guys who reside in Japan. But, you know, when it comes to us, you know, we just want to see more from Velvet in the story, and I personally think, you know, that Velvet's story is a little bit more interesting than what goes on in Sorey's story, because as I stated in my previous review, Sorey is kind of like the lighthearted protagonist, and while there are some dark themes, it's not nearly as dark as what goes on in Tales of Zestiria, because you're also dealing with a pretty revenge-driven and dark protagonist. You know, Velvet is the complete opposite of Sorey, and that's what I love about her character, and that's just why I want to see more. But regardless, we head back into the Tales of Zestiria timeline, and we see that what was actually going around in the storm isn't in fact Velvet, which was very surprising to me because I thought they were going to tie her in, like I stated before, but I guess they are just using those 2 episodes from Tales of Zestiria for promotional purposes for the game. And it's not the Lord of Calamity, which is also very surprising because those were only my 2 theories, but it actually turns out that it is a dragon that is filled with malevolence. A dragon that was made from malevolence, and we get to see that basically, Lady Lake, the city that Sorey, Mikleo, and, you know, pretty much everyone else are at this given point in time, is about to be overridden by malevolence. It's pretty much almost on the verge of being corrupted by malevolence. I mean, it's this close to being corrupted, and we see that due to when the dragon arrived in Lady Lake, it actually ended up wreaking some havoc within the city of Lady Lake, and then it flew off. And we see that, you know, when we see the scene with Alicia and Sorey looking out on one of this part of the sections of the city, that all of the houses have been pretty much decimated. People have lost, you know, their houses, and this is causing more malevolence to spread throughout the city because, as we know, malevolence is basically the negative emotions that come off by humanity, and when you bring off negative emotions, you know, whether it be, you know, depression, stress, or anything along those lines, you know, you are creating more, you know, powerful beings, like the dragon, for example, or more Hellions, and this will just spring about more chaos throughout the city, and eventually the city will be corrupted. So Lady Lake at this moment given in time is about 95% of the way there, I would say. It's on the verge of corruption by malevolence. So in order to actually stop this, Sorey and Alicia end up going on a adventure to actually go and take down the dragon. And of course, Lila tags along with Sorey and Alicia as well, but Lila, before they end up going on the adventure, Lila gives Mikleo a specific task in order to go about a certain ruins within this part of the Galahad ruins, I believe it's called, and basically he is to pick up an artifact which will benefit Sorey in the long run. And the whole reason why Mikleo is going on this task to begin with is because he feels as though now he has grown completely useless to Sorey. He thinks as though Sorey is, this shepherd. He is very prideful now, and at the same time, while he might be very prideful, he no longer needs Mikleo. Mikleo does no longer feel useless to Sorey, and Mikleo goes on this task to not only be useful as a summoning art, that Sorey can use in battle, but also as a friend. So, what does Mikleo do? He ends up doing exactly what Lila says, and he goes to the Galahad ruins, in which he is going to try to pick this specific artifact for Sorey, which will aid him in the long run. And of course, at the very end of this episode of Tales of Zestiria, we see that Sorey, Lila, and Alicia end up arriving at this mountain in which the dragon flew to, the same direction that this dragon flew to, and this mountain that they arrived at is very reminiscent to the one in the game. If any of you have played the game to Tales of Zestiria, this mountain that they are at currently is very reminiscent to the one in the game that introduces another party member to the group of Tales of Zestiria. And if you haven't already guessed it, it is Edna. For you anime onlys, that's all I'm going to say. Edna is a pretty awesome character, though. She is probably one of my favorite characters in the Tales of Zestiria game. She has an awesome summoning art, which is very cool, and I personally really enjoyed in the game, and honestly, I just think you're really going to like her character, but we're going to have to save my thoughts on Edna, and of course, your thoughts for next week's episode. But just know that we are going to see Edna in next week's episode of Tales of Zestiria, most likely. So yeah, guys, I think that about does it for this review. Let me know in the comments down below on what you thought about this episode of Tales of Zestiria, and how are you enjoying the series so far, especially what do you think about the transition between Tales of Berseria to Tales of Zestiria? Are you happy that we are back in the Tales of Zestiria timeline, or do you rather prefer the Tales of Berseria timeline? I'm very curious. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like. It always helps out the channel. And if you want to look at my other content on this channel, be sure to hit that red subscribe button below, and I'll catch you guys next time.